Hello everyone, part 4, let's go. But before we begin, part 4 is a little bit different than the previous 3. In this part, I finish up the mouth rigging, and for the rest of the video, I start to animate a short clip to change up the pace and to test the rig. So here I am continuing exactly where I left off in part 3. Not a whole lot to say about this, other than with each mouth shape, I'm just duplicating what I made previous and just reusing those parts. So, those thick and thin lines are already applied there. But every time you kind of move the pivot, or rather contour points around, the thickness, where you assign the thickness of the line kind of changes a little bit. So, you have to adjust a little bit if you're moving the contour points around. So same with the happy mouth. I'm just creating multiple instances of the mouth opening. And then once I get to the largest part, I transition the mouth shape into O sound. Just constantly flipping back and forth and see if the movement is to my liking. And for those mouth shapes, I do like that little heart shape thing that's going on. I think in the end I decided not to, because the shape change might be too drastic, so it might not really it might pop when you're actually lip syncing. So I decided to go with the just little more simplified shape. It might be something if you're actually hand animating, like you might be able to get away with having that like heart shape at certain points, but I guess when you're rigging, you try to go for the fairly standard, generic, and animators can always kind of add their own like a special cell drawings if they want to. But you try to cover a good chunk of you're trying to go for like a general shapes. Here I'm doing the F sound mouth, which requires a bit of rigging, although I probably didn't need to. I could have just get away with having the white teeth just colored right onto the mouth. But I think I put the like a cutter there, the green cutter. You might have seen it there to reuse that teeth element I already have. Which I don't think it was necessary, and I might have changed that later. So right here. So that green is going to cut the teeth, and then I'm probably gonna fill the inside, the mouth interior color, that dark maroon, that dark brown you see here. I'll probably fill that in. I think if you really wanted to separate anything with the F mouth, the way I did it here, I just separated teeth, but like, that's not necessary. So it does look like I did separate the bottom lip part with the top lip, which is good, because if you want that subtlety of a bottom lip being bitten, you want to be able to manipulate it separately. So when you use a peg to kind of squish the bottom lip, the top's not affected, which gives it a, it lessens that like a that the computer generated, for the lack of better term, flashy look. Looks like the basic mouth is pretty much done. I might choose to do more extra poses. I think from here now I am adjusting the pivot points of each element. So teeth, bottom teeth, tongue, and then overall mouth. And I'm just cleaning up the node view a little bit here. Putting some deformers in the hair. Just experimenting with the position of the deformer points. I think in the end I just decided to go with the perimeter deformer for both of those bang pieces there. Those shapes are too wide for the like spline deformer. Now we're moving on to the hip area that I set up before in part 2, I believe, or part 3. And yeah, just quickly, still don't get into the leg part yet, but just putting in a quick like a design so she doesn't look like she's not wearing anything down there. So yeah, just adding some belt and pants color. So with the belt, once again, I'm adding the 5 different cells. One straight, one curved, one more curved, and then kind of repeat it with the other reverse curves. Again, I could have just done one straight belt and then put a deformer on it. It does make the rig a little bit heavy, but it depends what you want to go for. And again, if animator prefers having a deformer, they can easily just like just grab that straight piece and put a deformer there. So more options good as long as it doesn't get in the way. Here I'm adding the cutter to the bottom of the belt. And I'm going to use it to reveal the pants color that's in that pelvis shape. So someone in the chat asked if I work in the animation industry. Yeah. So I've been working in the industry for about a little bit over 10 years now. Mostly in Canadian television. And not all in animation either. Like animation department, I've done some storyboarding, design, and such. And I think the concern was if it's too late to start in the animation industry. I mean, of course, the earlier the better, but when I was going through school, there were at least a couple people that were 30. That were 30 when they started the first year of animation school. And they're doing quite well now, so I don't think it's... I don't know if there's such thing as being too late to start. Well, realistically, there might be, but I mean, it's certainly not like you have to graduate like high school at like age of 17, 18 and then get right into the art school if you want to go to art school and all that. So as long as you're a fan of the medium and you've been keeping up with what's going on in the industry and where you want to get there and things like that, I think you're fine. Here I'm just adding a belly button right quick, and that about that about does it for this rigging session here. So pretty soon I'll be moving on to just doing a quick test animation. Right, just before that I'm doing a final check on pivot points. Basically going from like left of the node view to right, just quickly checking. And pivot points can be a little tedious, but you know, while you're rigging, you fix it once, you fix it forever. Instead of like when you're animating, then when you fix it during animation, you're mostly likely only fixing it for that one scene, and then the problem persists. Okay, so I think, yeah, I'm about to get into the animating the clip. I guess I should have some kind of warning, only because the clip, it's not exactly 18 plus or anything, this audio clip, but it does have word sex in it. So, you know, I don't know, if you're under 14, maybe you shouldn't be watching. No, it's not that bad, but just, you know, thought I should warn. It does have word sex in it. So for you guys watching this on YouTube, I'll play the final product twice so you can see where it's going. Here we go.
Sex could kill you. Sex could kill you.
Oh, that wasn't so bad now, was it? The clip is from the show House. I believe the character is Dr. Cameron. Just kind of like flirting with her colleague. So the rest of the video, this portion where I start to animate a scene, I should also mention I don't complete everything on stream. So I basically start with talking about coming up with the idea and roughing it out and posing it out. And I think that might be as far as I go. Like, unfortunately, I don't go fully into, you know, the nuance of animation timing and all that. So those I generally like to, you know, have some like private session where I like really get into the acting. Even though, I mean, this is fairly simple, but you know, like the focus, you do need focus for animation, even in the simplest acting, so you can get the timing the way you want it. But yeah, that's my long explanations for why I didn't do everything on the stream. But anyways, yeah, so here's the rest of the video. I hope you enjoy. I'll just talk a little bit for the until I get really get into the animation. So let's see. So I have this clip. I just muted on your part, but yeah, I just listened to it kind of over and over and trying to think about the acting choices or like a character's emotional state and things like that. And the purpose of me doing this is just to simple lip sync and just moving the character around a little bit, so I don't want to go too crazy and do some movement that requires a lot of heavy asset generation, since this is still a basic build. Like, I don't have too many parts, especially hands. I might draw some hands if necessary, but right now, like, this hand is what you see is there's no other hands. But hands are easy enough to draw if necessary. But generally, what I like to do is I always just rough things out first. Because I can't really think. There's some animators who can just like animate right away, like using the rig. But even when I have storyboard to work off of, I still like to like kind of sketch it out. Because when I just sketch it out, it kind of gives me a freedom and like gestural freedom to, you know, just explore. And I find if I just go straight animate, try to pose straight with the rig, like I find that a lot of my poses are stiff. So I usually rough things out first and then try to put the rig to that rough gesture as closely as possible. And then if I need like a special parts, I'll draw that and so on. From here, you can see that I start to roughly sketch out. I guess this is like a thumbnail stage since I'm not working with the storyboard. At this stage, I'm not too concerned with like if I'm super on model or anything like that. I'm just looking for a gestural quality, brainstorming, what kind of action I want. Again, if you're working in a production, you know, this kind of thing would have been provided by the storyboard artist, so you can just jump right into the visual aspects. But right now, with this one, yeah, I'm trying to come up with idea as well. And with the sketch, I can just quickly just move some parts around. And just raise shoulder like that. Just to get a sense of where I want to go. And get a just very rough timing. And here you can see me writing the dialogue down. So I can always kind of reference it, even though it's very short. Because even if it's a scene is very short, you want to emphasize like a certain part. So there's like an arc in that scene. So, you know, you heard the dialogue, so when he says sex is very, very soft. And the point that she's trying to make is it could kill you, so I want to put an emphasis on kill. And so it's kind of natural that I want like the biggest action to happen during that word kill. Of course, not always, but at least it's a good starting point. So here you can see me drastically changing her pose and even expression from concern to I guess here it's suspicious, but you know, you already know how it ended up. I don't go this far with the posing because it's too much work, and I just wanted some quick test to do. Here I'm going back to 100% speed and giving the control over back to the stream. So I don't know, this action makes no sense. I'll play it with the audio so you can just see where I'm at. I'm gonna turn on the desktop audio. Okay.
Sex could kill you.
I don't know why I added a baseball bat.
Sex could kill you.
We'll see how it goes. But now I need a baseball bat and bunch of hand poses, so. But it's a starting point. Maybe I'll change my mind later. But yeah.
Sex could kill you.
I'm sure the internet will like the clip that I've chosen. So yeah, I'll go ahead with it. This might take longer than I'd like as like a test of some sort, because this is like 3-second clip, but it will take me a while to finish it. Probably like 5 hours at least. But I won't stream all of it. But well, we'll see where it takes us. From here on, I start to pose the character with the rig, starting with the key poses. So if you're in a production, the storyboard will give you key poses. Those are a good starting point. Some production will want you to follow them very closely. And yeah, it all depends. But it's always a good starting point. And yeah, here I just quickly make up a baseball bat. This was very quickly made, so not everything's symmetrical. There's probably a bit of wonkiness here and there. But for our purposes, this is just fine. Now that the baseball bat prop is done, instead of just pegging it on that angle position, I try to put it back into straight vertical and then peg it there. Just a little bit cleaner. And here you can see I attach the bat with the hand. So when I move the hand, the bat will come with. So I don't always have to like track it, like animating the hand and then a bat separately. It's if you know she's going to be holding it the entire time, this is pretty good. And then, if you have a scene where like she like throws a bat somewhere, then you might need a second instance of a bat. So when she throws it, you disable a bat in her hand and then enable a second bat that's outside of the rig, and you can continue animating that way. And here I'm trying to refine the pose a little bit more, because before we're just having a thumbnail to work off of. Now we're kind of getting into a bit of like posing territory now, because yeah, so with the black line that you saw, try to get it as fairly accurate as I can, because like I don't want to be like creating and guessing things with the pencil tool. I just want to like when I'm drawing, I want to be drawing and designing, and then when I'm cleaning up, I just want to be cleaning up. So I don't know if other people can do multiple things at once, but for me, I like to just do one thing at a time. Hey, so I'll explain my process a little bit. So my initial sketch is it's more or less like an idea sketch. Especially I'm not working off of storyboard or anything right now, and I pretty much had like nothing planned before doing this. So yeah, my initial sketch gives me a couple different information. So let's see, where is it? So this gives me like acting decisions and timing. And also gives me some kind of idea as to like a type of asset that I need. Like, so I don't have any hands on this character other than just the default pose. So even just this rough sketch, it just gives me an idea that I need to create this hand and also this hand in order for her to grab onto something. And then I'll probably need to create another couple hands, maybe for this pose and then definitely for this pose. So yeah, so now that I have this general idea figured out, like and there's no real need for me to clean up this rough sketch for me. Like it will just be kind of waste of time for me, unless like unless there's like a really special pose that like really pushes the shape of the character way different than what I have in the rigging. So unless there's something special pose like that, I generally don't clean it up any more than this. And then yeah, so and now just to save some time, I'm now posing the character roughly to what I have to this gesture. For the animation software, I am not quite sure. I mean, yeah, tons of people use Photoshop, and a lot of people use Clip Studio, and Flash or Adobe Animate. That's the also popular one, right? Like a and because that's more or less like an industry standard as well. So whatever you feel like is you're most comfortable with. Like I'm most comfortable with Toon because that's what that's what I use for work. And I know my way around it. So, but if I try to do that with like a new software, I'm just gonna waste like hours just fighting with the software. So, whatever you're comfortable with is probably my answer. If you're not doing it professionally, like if you're trying to create like a portfolio or something, then maybe look into what the studios are using. For example, if it's totally hand-drawn stuff, then what's that software? I forget the name. There's a bitmap software. The industry people use it a lot because it's close as you can get to pencil. They use it on clouds as well. It will come back to me. Krita? No, it's not Krita. It's like a European one. and it's bitmap based, so it's kind of like Photoshop, but it's built for animation. I'll keep thinking about it. It'll come back to me. Just... it's not Affinity either. It's maybe it's not European. I know European studios use it a lot. TV Paint. Yeah, there you go. TV Paint. TV Paint is the software. So which para? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like not everyone roughs in like I do. Like that's more of a preference. But yeah, I like to do it so I can just immediately see what's needed before I even start the scene. And well, like it depends what you're asking for. If it's like a professional, like a studio setting, they might have their own process for creating new asset. I mean, generally, like the characters would have a lot of hands and a lot of other body parts like already provided to you in the rig. So like it's not too often you need to create your own assets, and a lot of times like the designers will handle that. What do I do professionally? Throughout my decade, I've done few things. I started with animation on like Toon software. I don't work with Toon, like the company, but a lot of the, the comp, but the cartoons, they that I was part of, a lot of them did use Toon software. So I started with animation, and then I did some storyboard, some design, animation supervising. Yeah, lot of like this and that, but mostly animation and storyboarding. What hardware do I use? PC. PC Master Race. Oh, that. Yeah. Right now I'm drawing on Cintiq. I have a Cintiq 21UX is the model. Yeah, it costs a lot of money. But I got it soon after I graduated, and like I had some money, and I knew from work that I'll be using this for a long time. And yeah, I did buy this like 10 years ago. I'm still using it now. So it's the it's 21 UX. It's the black one, so it's slightly newer than the gray ones. But it is quite old. It's 4:3 ratio, so that's why you see on the stream like I don't do a full screen because I'll have to stretch out the resolution. Standard process for mouth movement, matching the mouth movement to the dialogue. I guess you want to start with like hitting like the very hard sound. I've been away from animation for a while, so I'm not particularly good at explaining all this stuff, but yeah, try to hit the important sounds first, and then you can kind of fill in the in between. And also, when people talk, like you go from closed mouth and then open mouth, right? Very rarely people open their mouth like slowly. So when you're animating, always go from like, or most of the time, you want to go from closed mouth and then like pop open, and then start to close. If you open the mouth slowly, even when when the character's not talking like that, then like the lip sync gets very like mushy. So you want it like a little bit more snappy. Like vowels, yeah, like I'm gonna turn on the desktop audio, and let's take this audio that I have as an example.
Sex could kill you. Sex could kill you.
So here we have a line, sex could kill you. So yeah, just open it up on sex, and she's saying just dragging that X sound, so sex, and it will close slowly. And could, that's also like, so think about like a Muppet, right? So it's like sex could, and could, yeah, you would open it quickly, and then it would end up in the like clenched teeth because you're making the D sound. So sex could kill you. Yeah, so like a Muppet. In Western animation, animation is done after recording, but I in Japan, they always seem to record a voice after animation is fully done. It's just the way they do it, and it always seems a little bit off. Yeah, for the Japanese production, you can, if you ever like end up catching one of those like behind the scenes, like how the animation was made, like for the Japanese ones, you can see the actors in the recording booth watching the finished animation, and they try to match that. I guess it's so yeah, so I guess it's similar like if the Western dub if Western people are dubbing, like let's say Dragon Ball or something, then they would have to do it that way, right? So it's probably the same kind of same way they do that. Just watch the animation and try to match it. Hey, thank you, counterfeit mascot. Um, I don't think I'm particularly special. It's just the people who are rigging in the industry. I don't know. They're busy, so they don't seem to make content. There are few that yeah, but that's not fair though. Like I I mean when I made some series in the YouTube like 7 years ago or something like that. Back then there was like almost nothing, but now I think there's some more. Like especially um like there are actually ones from like Toon, like the one they like kind of sponsor the artist to showcase. So there might be some really useful ones there. I haven't caught them personally because I guess, um, but those if you can find them, those also might be worth checking out. Yeah, from what I hear, the Japanese animators are very underpaid. um, I don't really have statistics, but the sense I get is like maybe like $5 an hour if you're lucky. I don't know. No, don't quote me on that. But so, um, and animation in the United States. I don't know. Is there animation in the United States? That's hard to say. Like maybe if you're working for feature, there are some animation there. But otherwise, if you're talking about like a TV show or something, there's not too much animation in the United States. Lot of things are going overseas. Just, but United States they mostly do like pre-production, like design, storyboard, that type of thing. Yeah, I think small studios like do commercial animation. There are a few there. I think there's like Titmouse, for example. They do animation. They have a big studio based in Vancouver, Canada, but originally in LA studio. They do a lot of animation there. So there's not too many. Um, but there are there if you're looking for them. But as far as like a hand-drawn animation or even 2D animation goes, I think a lot of it is in Canada and like other countries. But that's we're just mostly doing service work here, like just completing someone else's vision, that type of thing. But you still get to animate if that's what you enjoy. I've never done claymation. Yeah, and just yeah, I don't think I've ever even touched clay for animation. Like we had some at school, we had some classes for stop motion, so we play around with like a little bit of like a mechanical puppet kind of thing, but never claymation. Yeah, I bet claymation's fun. Like, there was a on Twitter I saw this like amazing claymation animator. he did like a piece of this man turning into a werewolf. Like it was amazing. Like when it turned to werewolf, like he had like a fur and stuff, and like it was like very consistent and like super like cool and professional. Yeah, Titmouse are still mostly Flash. I work with Titmouse here and there. I I I know they did like one or two show with Toon, but they're still mostly Flash, and yeah, then that's understandable because like they're good at like what they do with Flash, and switching like the entire studio over for with the new software, like it's like a huge task, right? Because you need like a so okay, feature queue here again. There's some silence in the stream, so let's see if I can provide you with some commentary here of what I'm doing. Yeah, just a posing right now and trying to flipping back and forth between the two key poses to make sure the every body part is moving correctly and no body part is like sticking unnaturally where it should, and try to make sure everything is kind of moving all together. If she's like moving her arms, then her shoulders gonna move a little bit. So posing the keys so the movement looks and feel as natural as possible. So I think with this animation, I'm gonna change the ending. The way I had it here. First of all, it didn't make sense. As fun as it was. So I'll open the desktop audio and play it.
Sex.
Oh, okay, I'll play it without the character on screen.
Sex could kill you. Sex.
That aggressive
could kill you.
Stance doesn't make any sense. So I'm just gonna change it to like she's concerned and worried. So I'll just go with that. I'll try to. I don't think I need to sketch it. I'm gonna try to play around with within the pose that I already have. So I'll keep it fairly subtle. This isn't a part of series. I'm just trying to. This isn't part of cartoon series, if that's what we're asking. I'm just doing this as a streaming series on like trying to show as much as I can how I built the character from start to finish. These dots are controls for I have these like cutters. So yeah, they're controls for these invisible cutters. Yeah, patch controls, yeah. Hello, so here's a bit more additional commentary. So, not too much to say, but here I want to say a little bit about the animating the face, because I do like to animate the eyes a lot, and that's where you can get the most like emotion when you animate the eyes, like especially like the lid, the subtlety in the that lower lid coming up and all that. Yeah, I like to play around. I like to give it those special attention. So I'm still working on the key poses here, and I am posing the mouth shape a little bit but just to get a sense of the character's emotion. But when it comes to actual lip sync, it's second to last step that I do. The very last step for me, and I imagine for a lot of other animators too, it's like a secondary action. So hair will be the very last thing I tackle. I do pose out the hair a little bit here, like I pushed it back as the character's leaning forward, just to as a reference. So when I'm flipping back and forth, it does seem somewhat natural, like the hair is. You get a sense of hair moving. But it's one of those things that you will definitely refine once the animation is all done. One another thing I'll say about animating the eye is the pupils, right? So in this particular key pose, you can see I enlarge her iris, the black part of the eye, a bit to get that extra like cute and concerned look. It's kind of, overall it's kind of subtle, but you might feel it if not, like you may not always notice it, but you'll definitely feel it, especially if she's surprised and her pupil, I decrease them a little bit. But yeah, you can see she looks a little bit cuter in this particular keyframe because her iris is big, and I also enlarged her highlight in the eye as well. It's getting pretty close to a point where I'm kind of happy with the general choices. I'll play the scene here with the audio so you can see where I'm at.
Sex could kill you. Sex could kill you. Sex could kill you. Sex could kill you. Sex could kill you.
The pause in the middle might be a little bit too long, but I'll just work with it. I don't want to edit it, so. And we're approaching the end of the stream and this session of the video here, and I just want to say thank you, everyone, for watching thus far. If you're following along, and yeah, I know it's not an in-depth tutorial or anything like that, but I hope you found something helpful. And again, feel free to ask questions, and I do want to get a sense of what people want from me, if anything, so I can kind of tailor the future videos and streams potentially and to what you guys want. So next part 5, I will be building the leg and the foot. I'll let the stream queue sign out here, and for you guys on the YouTube, I'll see you in the next part. Thanks. Guys, it's 3 a.m. here for me. Guess I've been streaming for 3 hours for this session. think I'll call it here for the stream. I'll probably keep going off stream and finish it before I sleep, but I'm ready for a slightly long break. And yeah, thank you all for coming. And if you follow me on Twitter, I'll probably post it there. The final product, so you can take a look. So have a good night, everybody, and I'll probably do another stream tomorrow until this character is done. Okay, so see you later. Have a good night. Bye bye.